So, as far as I'm concerned, NXT won the night because they had one really good title match that had a great finish, excellent work with stars that were over and was serious and meant to be that way. And the rest of the show was eh. Meanwhile, AEW was a goddamn clown show and train wreck from the start to the finish, and the wrestlers that are good somehow came out looking worse than they did going in. So, I say NXT won this because last week was a draw and this week NXT was better. It's faint praise, I know, because neither show was goddamn stellar. What did the viewers say?
Well, we have the ratings as well as a comment from Tony Khan. The ratings...
Was it an apology?
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. Which rating would you like first?
Well, that may tell us something. I don't know. Just give it to us in a goddamn, in however order it's written.
AEW, 715,000 viewers. NXT, 759,000 viewers.
Well, there you go.
The third week in a row that NXT has won the ratings battle.
And let me ask you a question. If I remember correctly, NXT started out with what, about a million or less than a million viewers?
I don't have...
Do you remember that?
I only have the 2020 ratings here. I don't have the...
But I'm saying they started back last September, October. They were... NXT was right under a million, I think, when they started going up head to head. And meanwhile, remember the first week, AEW was almost 1.5 million people?
I remember it being over a million. I don't remember the exact number.
It was almost 1.5 because I remember that because they were, oh, this is going to be great. Everything's going to be great. Well, from what I'm hearing, NXT has basically, during the pandemic, empty arena and everything, lost 100 and 150,000 of the people they started with, and AEW has lost 700,000.
Well, it's interesting because if we go back to the beginning of the year, NXT, for the most part, is steady within its range. It's actually up a bit. You know, the first 3 weeks of 2020, 548,000 viewers. I believe that would be one of their lowest ever.
Oh, good God. Well, wait, but that was New Year's, right?
That's New Year's, yes.
That's New Year's. New Year's was a Wednesday. Okay.
Well, let's go with the 3 weeks after that. 721,000, 700,000, 769,000. Again, this past week, they were 759. Last week, they were 792.
Yeah.
So there's a range there. AEW, starting with January 8th, 947,000 viewers, 940,000 viewers, 871,000 viewers. This past week, they were 715,000 viewers. Clearly, both shows took a hit. Like most...
Well, now, wait a minute. Let's ask this, though, because we brought them some back because the last 2 weeks we have watched and talked about these programs because the week before when we had stopped watching, weren't they down to about 600,000 when all of our people left because they couldn't have any fun with it anymore?
Well, again, if we go, there are a couple of big hits here. When the pandemic really struck, April 1st, AEW did 685,000 viewers, which was down from 819 the week before. That's really the line where you could say, okay, there's a big hit here. For comparison's sake, AEW went from 669 to 590. Not as big a hit as AEW went through. NXT, I don't know if I said NXT there as I'm talking out loud.
Yeah, but then they've come back up, but AEW has stayed flat.
And then after the football field match, when they had Mike Tyson on the show, they did 827,000 viewers, followed by 730, 677, 772, 633, and then last week was the first week we watched again, 748, although people didn't know yet that we were watching the show.
Well, we talked about it. I think it's enough. So we brought about 115,000. What's that? About a third of our audience. We brought about 115,000 to them from that week.
But here's the thing. Like I said, if you go back to the beginning of the year, and look, the pandemic has hurt something like professional wrestling. It'll be really interesting now when sports come back, how that hurts things. Because again, these numbers are down without there being sports, really just news programming. And as we learned last week, Guy's Grocery Challenge or whatever that show was.
Well, but now let's be fair. There's nothing about AEW that has anything to do with sports programming.
Well, that's, you could certainly make that argument. But again, January 8th, NXT was at 721. This past week, they were at 759. January 8th, AEW was at 947. Now they're at 715.
You know why? Because when you hear the same joke 17 times, it's not as funny by the time you get finished hearing it all that many times as it was the first time. All they're doing is telling the same joke every week on TV. And people are going to get tired of hearing the same joke with the same punchline, seeing the same wrestling matches with the same moves where nobody knows who's in charge or who they should root for or why anybody's mad, and nobody's taking it seriously anyway. So, folks, welcome to the world of big league wrestling now instead of your little indie fucking wrestling matches where you go in with no television, you show up and you entertain a small crowd of people that really want to be there, and they don't have to look at you again for months and months. But when you're on TV and you have to be good, and you have to hook people on a weekly basis, you have to get people interested in what you're doing and make them believe that you care about it. That's the hard part. And they ain't graduated yet. They ain't graduated third grade to become double knot spies yet because they're a bunch of fucking little kids playing in a goddamn kiddie pool. And I guess there's 715,000 people that are starved for some entertainment that are playing with them.
We have a comment from Tony Khan.
Oh, yes, please. Let's close with Khan.
This statement was issued on Twitter, a rather defensive statement. If anyone thinks I consider being a top 7 show on cable anything but a huge win, they're incorrect. A win in the demo is a win in the business, and this is a business. I know the industry wasn't talking about the demo as much 20 years ago, but it's what drives our revenue today.
God. Well, yeah.
And that's the same argument Chris Jericho made after he had lost head-to-head against Sasha Banks. It's the one a lot of people focus on, saying that it's the key demo that matters, not the actual amount of overall viewers.
Yeah. All right. Well, the average or the overall viewers is indicative of the fact that a lot of people don't like your fucking bullshit, Tony. So you should have started with talent instead of fucking goofballs that you were fucking taken with. And you should have started with experience instead of a bunch of people that had the next great idea. And now you're stuck with this and couldn't happen to a nicer guy, and fuck all of you. I'm disgusted with this whole thing. I want to go eat my cheeseburgers that I promised myself for having to sit through these 2 fucking shows. Can we do that now?
Yes, but can you stop ripping up your notes? I keep telling you, there's something we could do with them that would be beneficial to the world of wrestling or to your bank account or something.
I tell you what, if I get the chance to take these notes and like I tried to take my white jacket on TBS and shove them down Paulie's throat, if I can shove these down Tony Khan's throat or whichever orifice on his body is biggest, I may have to stretch one out, then I'll save the notes. Otherwise, they can all go get fucked because I'm about to eat some cheeseburgers. And next week, I have a feeling we're going to do this again because I want to see Damian Priest and Cameron Grimes on NXT. And I want to see if anybody will just come out and on next week's AEW and just say, we're sorry, folks. We really have no idea what the fuck we've been doing. And we apologize for offending all of you wrestling fans. And we're going to try to actually start trying now. Maybe they'll do that.
Well, that's certainly not going to happen because those checks are still being issued each and every week